Tonight on Podcast Him Down, the Enterprise runs afoul of a guy who's bad at his job and a pretty metal puppet.
I'm Tim from American power metal band Burning Shadows, Fade to Black Metallica tribute, Dual-Violin folk metal band ISENMOR, and recently vacated graves True Zombie Metal, and the host of Podcast Them Down. And I'm joined by one of you guys.
Hey, I'm Matt, and I'm also on the. Doug and I are talking at the same time.
This is a good intro. I'm glad we decided to go live with the intro.
Yeah, we do it live. You know, like goddamn live.
We'll let them in the process.
That's right.
That's my advice.
So today,
that's later. That's later.
Today, we're continuing the Star Trek original series Rewatch. Somehow we made it through October without airing a single one of these, and then throughout November we've caught up. So it is now December, finally, and the best month, except for January.
You know, Metal Nation, I heard a rumor that on the very next Podcast Them Down, the big guy might be paying a visit. I don't want to show my hand, but we might have a very special guest. You know, a very special guest on the next Podcast Them Down.
That sounds amazing. The next one we record, or the next one that gets aired?
Well, I don't even know how this works, but
right,
so sometime soon.
Eventually.
Keep listening.
All right, for the sake of posterity, someone do a body count check.
Oh, is body count on there? I'll look it up while you guys do. While you guys talk about, I like the title of this episode because it sounds like a prog power album, the Corbomite Maneuver.
It really does sound like it. Yes, I agree.
Not one of those ones with a good story, though.
Body count is not on Metal Archives at the moment.
Oh, fuck.
All right, this is insert episode number here.
Let me look it up. This should be episode 48 or 49.
God damn.
All right, so that we open with the Enterprise doing some very intense star mapping.
Damn, we're jumping right to this. Well, you know, the episode starts right to it, too, so that's a good call.
It does. And I had to look it up. You know, my positional research, I don't like to do it, but I did. And this was the third episode shot, and it explains a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Spock's in command. While in the words of Memory Alpha, Kirk is submitting to a quarterly physical. Which we
submitting?
Submitting.
Sounds like it's against his will.
You know, I disagree with them putting that in the teaser because we don't learn that until Act 1. So Tim's going to cut that part out. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. This is live to tape, Doug.
All right.
Do you want me to cut it out? I don't even know what.
No. Please don't.
We're the people in the process. Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I mean, I would just like, before we get into what's going on, I just want to talk about the tediousness of the Enterprise's task at hand. So this is really the third ever shot episode of Star Trek, right? Like if they were played in production order, this would have been the right after where No Man has gone before. And the last time we left the Enterprise, they were like fighting God and zooming through the galactic barrier. And now what they appear to be doing is just steering the ship 1 degree at a time, snapping a photograph, and then turning around another 1 degree and snapping a photograph. And they've been doing this for 3 days.
Well, depending on what they're doing, 1 degree could be a whole lot. It could be too much. You know, because you start getting scalloping effects if it's some kind of beam-formed data they're
very
working with?
advanced sensors in the future.
They specifically say the word photograph, though. So that leads me to believe they're physically taking a photograph.
Yeah, but the James
It may
Webb
mean
Space
something
Telescope,
different.
James Webb Space Telescope
Okay.
isn't just a camera. It's a bunch of mirrors, and it's stitching images together. But anyway.
Okay. Well,
Wait,
they do mention that because they said 1 degree to overlap. So I imagine they're actually doing, this is very scientific here.
Okay, so
I think they're
the beam width is big enough.
Yeah.
that it's okay to all right. I'll let you
And
continue.
not doing this external to the ship. So it takes the incredible power of the Enterprise to perform this exercise. So you're getting a lot of resolution and a lot of shit in the frame.
Sure. But I just we often think of the Enterprise as like the flagship of the Federation, like a big important vessel doing big important stuff. But I like how we start off and the Enterprise is just doing a shit ass job.
Yeah, I guess they're doing all the science that you assume that is like glossed over.
Yeah, exactly.
Later.
Exactly. They're like
it's a science mission. Well, this is actually the most sciencey mission ever. Tedious measurements.
Yes.
That take
so
days.
I enjoy that, but we don't get to enjoy them tediously taking pictures for long, because very quickly thereafter, at light speed comes this object.
The warp 1.
I guess you would call it. What would you call it, Doug? An object, I guess.
Memory Alpha. I'll buy this. They call it a mysterious object.
Okay. Yeah. And it's really just like a shiny cube. So this shiny cube, multicolored cube.
It's like a Rubik's Cube if you ever complete one.
And you know how like when you complete one, it like lights up and spins around. And it's doing that. It's kind of like Rubik's Cube and Simon.
They
if you
do
remember.
that? I've never finished one.
Yeah. That's why it's so hard to finish.
What?
So this thing comes at them. They mention all their deflectors don't work, and all their attempts to evade it don't work. Chief Navigator Lieutenant Dave Bailey, who we'll talk about a lot in this episode, acts like a whiny douche. Like this is a person who's graduated Starfleet Academy, presumably has worked at least through the rank of ensign to lieutenant.
He had that humor
spaceships.
column. He had that humor column that was syndicated in newspapers.
Yeah, Dave
Dave Bailey.
Dave Bailey. Funny thing happened. Today's Thanksgiving, but I didn't give any thanks. But this guy starts acting like I can't even describe what he acts like an impetuous like preteen who wants to be seen as a badass, but immediately cowers behind his mom's skirt as soon as something bad happens.
Yeah, it's like he wants to be Gary Mitchell and fails at even that.
Yeah. And so he just gets crazy and freaks out on the bridge. And Spock sounds red alert, or not even the alert.
It's they call a condition alert.
Yeah, so competent officers Spock and Sulu do their job while old Dave Bailey's crying in the corner.
Memory Alpha.
The teaser.
Memory Alpha specifically says Sulu declares red alert.
They're lying.
They're glossing over.
Metal Nation, get out there and correct Memory Alpha.
I think they owe us a debt of gratitude.
Yeah.
For pointing out all their errors. You're welcome, Memory Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And that's literally the teaser. It jumps right into it. It's done.
So I forget which sound I use for between the acts.
Yeah, we go to the deliberation chambers. I think it's just a door.
Yeah, well, these are all not named right. So let's hear what this is.
No, that's a tricorder.
Nope.
tricorder.
No, that's
That's navigation.
well, I only have 3, so naturally I picked the 2 wrong ones. So it's got to be that one. There we go.
There we go. All right.
All right, we're in the chamber.
In the chamber now.
All right. Who wants to start? I'll start. Nothing really happens, and there's a coward, not metal. It's tedium. Tedium could be metal, so especially like talking to someone who likes Dream Theater. That's fucking tedious. So let's. I'm gonna give it a.
You and Bailey, though. He's an unknowing, impetuous coward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Effing metal.
The best kind of coward.
All right, there's some mystery. Well, I'm going to give it a metal score of 3 and a quality score also of 3.
Okay. I'm actually going to give it I agree with your metal score of 3. Nothing really metal has happened yet. There's lots of metal potential, but very little metal actuality. What metalness there is, it's like an image of metal to come, but nothing particularly metal happens in the teaser. We're just kind of set up. But I do think it's actually well done. I like the juxtaposition of the tedium of the Enterprise's job versus the immediate emergency and kind of whole shift of tone of the crew. Even fucking Dave Bailey, who starts as being a whiny bitch, like, oh, I hate space duty. I hate taking pictures. And then as soon as something happens, he's like, oh, I hate this. So that gets a 6 from me.
Yeah, I'm even going to go as... Now, I'll match your 6. And I'm going to go up to a 7. Because, the contrast between the scientific footing and the dealing with the unknown footing... they set up Bailey really well, and we have to put this teaser in context. It's only the whatever episode we're at, the 3rd to film, 8th or 9th to air. Yeah, because we're going to see this teaser, the Tholian Web at least. Yeah, in a few years we'll see it in Encounter at Farpoint again.
This episode is basically Encounter at Farpoint, just at least the first 2/3 of it, which I enjoy.
The rest of it is Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah. I totally agree, because I could not stop thinking about that. Like,
and I don't associate this episode with that, so it was fun rewatching it with that in mind, because it's like beat by beat at points the same.
Yeah, it's almost like if the first 30-ish minutes of Encounter at Farpoint were a Star Trek episode, it would be this episode.
Did you give scores, Doug?
I'm going to go with the metal score of 5, because I think Bailey is actually pretty metal. How whiny and unhinged he is.
I am going to deduct. I just realized this is my time to do it. I'm going to deduct half a point because Spock and many other primary characters have like a real froofy collar, which bothers me, and they haven't figured out the fitting of the uniform yet, and it just looks misshapen and unmetal. It's a minor thing, but it bothers me. Why is his collar like that?
Hey, as long as you're deducting points, I'm going to deduct a point from the Minnesota Wild. All right, go ahead.
All right. Be interesting to see how you score the Wrath of Khan.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I like those colors. I love those colors.
So it's the poor fit.
Yeah, no.
Turtleneck style.
I have no problem with a turtleneck style uniform. I have a problem with going on TV with something that doesn't fit.
I think maybe the Enterprise's space tailor failed as physical, and they had to depart without him.
In this episode, they're still somewhat. It looks like It looks like they realized the where no man had gone before uniforms aren't working. And they've hit upon the right uniform, but it looks like the costume designer was like, I need like 40 more minutes to get these right. And they're like, sorry, we got to get this shit out right now. So I think that's more of an issue. It's a production issue, not an issue with the thing itself.
Yeah, and then we can read something into it or we don't, but Ahura is wearing command colors.
Yeah, that's awesome. Which I think she should, really.
We'll get to it, but on the basis of who Kirk pages and who shows up, it's kind of interesting. And
True. Okay.
In the middle of that.
What does she wear later?
As engineering or the engineering security, the operations division. Operations.
Maybe it depends how involved it is to run the communication system. Like,
it's a big job.
Yeah. So, did you give a quality score? I was only half listening.
Score 7, metal score 5.
Wow.
All right. So it's the leave the deliberation chamber.
Do we have to scan Act 1 now?
You know what? I understand your scores, Doug. I think you are letting the action later on in the episode influence your scores. I agree with you. And this is a tension I'm having. Do I reward this teaser for setting things up that I will enjoy in the next acts, or do I let it stand on its own? So I just want to say, even though I disagree with your scores, I understand them and respect them.
Well, this is why you need me here to be perfectly objective, unlike you two.
Yeah, that's true. So objective, you haven't even watched the episode. You just like the episode name.
And I skimmed the memory alpha. That's all I need to do.
All right, so we Act 1. We get a captain's log. It's not one of those ones that says something more than we already know, although it does at least let us know that it's a general alert and not merely a condition alert that was called. And anyway, Kirk's getting his quarterly physical, which involves not wearing a shirt, sweating profusely, being 3/4 introverted, and using the step things we saw in Charlie X.
Yeah, again, we see that like weird, not a treadmill, like big kick into the wall device.
It's
which
like,
I appreciate.
Is it anaerobic exercise? Is it give a lot of resistance, or is this a stamina? Like,
I think it's stamina because he's looking at. If you look at the monitor, he's looking at his respiration and his heart rate. So I think it's a stress test of some kind. Why that particular stress test? I'm not sure. I understand why a captain would need to undergo a stress test, but it just seems like a weird thing.
Well, our medicine's barbaric now. There's going to be a lot that changes that we can't even pretend to understand. But yeah, the either general alert doesn't mean much, or McCoy just the complete dereliction of duty.
The second one.
Because they're specifically paging Captain Kirk to the bridge, and McCoy makes him finish his physical before he bothers to tell him that there is a red alert scenario.
Like the light is going off. McCoy looks at it and is like, fuck that, and goes back to the test.
And then Kirk walks, before Kirk, like, what am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle conductor?
And he says, if I jumped that every light that came around here, I'd end up talking to myself. So basically, we get the sense that McCoy has a very strange sense of what's important on this ship that he lives on.
I think we'll see this from a couple of characters this episode, but yeah, obviously, practical drift in people's acceptance of risk.
Yeah.
Versus the manual.
And strange sense of like what duty is, because assuming they're all in this peacekeeping scientific armada, which is a quasi-military organization. And yet, no one seems to have the kind of standard discipline you would think that such organizations should have.
Yeah, and there's a lot, we'll get to it, but there's a lot of enablement in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Okay, so the light comes on. Kirk's like, I gotta get out of here. He goes up shirtless to the bridge for some reason. I think his shirt is draped over his shoulder, or he has like he drapes his shirt over his shoulder. No time to get dressed.
Why, Captain, you're out of uniform.
He is. He goes up there. Bailey is freaking the fuck out. But he's self-conscious about his outburst earlier, and he apologizes to Spock, says it's because I have an adrenal gland. And classic Spock, he says, well, maybe you should get it removed. Oh, he's like the Andrew Dice Clay of space.
Oh!
Sulu tells him it's a bad idea to cross brains with Spock. And then we just go back to business. We scan the cube. Scotty is there. We haven't seen Scotty a lot in any of these episodes.
So a couple actually in the teaser, and when Kirk walks on the bridge here, this episode's unusually well filmed. Mm-hmm. There's the type of shots they wouldn't take the time for later. Yeah. Like there's a great handheld point of view shot of Kirk walking onto the bridge, and there's a crane shot looking down. These are even things they really reuse.
Yeah, there's a great crane shot when they're pressing the button to take the camera, to take the photograph. It's one of the most. I was just amazed at how impressive this shot was, and kind of sad it was never ever used again for anything. Not even like a photon torpedo or anything.
So I think on his way up, Kirk has requested that all of the department heads come up. So, of course, I was very revealing who shows up. And this personnel director is still nowhere to be found, established in the last episode. So it's Scotty, Spock, and McCoy. And then Scotty gives the shittiest report ever. Like literally, it's like, where's the dialogue? Scotty asking for a report. Motive power beats me. What makes it go? And Kirk's like, I'll buy speculation. I'd sell it if I had any. That's a solid cube. How something like that can sense us coming, block us, move us when we move up? Well, it beats me. That's my report.
This is James Doohan's only 2 lines in the episode. The rest is just him looking concerned occasionally.
So he's informed us that it's a solid cube, which we probably already knew. And that's all the chief engineer has to say. I get it that McCoy doubles down on that same report because he's the life sciences.
Yeah.
And then, this Bailey freaks out and wants to blast it. Fortunately, the Enterprise is not a democracy.
Yeah, he very clearly says that. So Bailey's like, we should just fucking blow it up, sir. And Kirk is like, well, I'll keep that in mind, Lieutenant Bailey, when it's a democracy. But fuck you, get back to work. We get a strange mid-act log entry, even though there's no reason to. And again, we get no new information. It's just, there's this cube. We don't know what's going on. We've been here for 18 hours. And we just kind of, at this point, they just kind of guess that it's some kind of space boy.
I guess it advances the timeline a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the briefing room, and we get to see who the extended leadership team of the Enterprise is. Which
but real quick, You said space. Do you mean buoy or do you mean boy?
Well, I prefer to think of it as a space boy, but it is a buoy, a space
Okay.
buoy.
All right. I didn't. If you meant space boy, I wanted clarification.
Although I don't want to spoil anything for those who haven't watched the episode, but keep that other phrase in mind.
Yeah. It
Oh
was,
no.
Yeah.
All right. Go on. So
Keep it in mind.
leadership team.
which consists of Spock, Kirk, McCoy, Uhura, and then the two helmsmen.
Which begs the question: who's on the bridge at the time? So they discuss it a little bit more. They're like, well, they should maybe take phasers at it. Bailey sucks at listening. So Kirk and Spock are talking about flypaper, and say like, well, we shouldn't stick around because that would convey weakness. Meaning they should get out of there, right? But Bailey, for some reason, believes this means we should shoot the fuck out of this buoy. So he orders the phaser gun crew to get ready. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing, Bailey? And they yell at him. And so instead, Kirk orders Bailey to plot a spiral course away. And they try to escape it. But as they do, the cube starts emitting lethal radiation and closes in on the ship.
Yeah, and a lot of people are knocked around in the hallway.
Yeah, we see the same 12 people fall down in the hallway 6 or 7 times during this sequence, including a guy that has a great vest full of labeled pockets, and I really want that vest. It's just like a canvas vest, but it's just big cargo pockets everywhere with labels, illegible labels on them.
He must do the actual engineering.
Or he's like the grommet guy. Like, I have all the sizes of grommets here in my vest. Just tell me where to go.
All right, to the deliberation chamber.
All right.
Oh, also they wait, come back.
All right. We're back.
Okay, they blow up the cube. All right, back in the thing.
All right.
That's right. Yeah, and it's radiation. Oh yeah. Yep, back in the chamber.
All right. So
there was a lot of unprovoked violence,
but not enough.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we encountered an unknown object. Let's destroy it. That was what they wanted to do first.
True. Yeah. True.
So Matt, do you think, since this is a peace, the flagship of a peacekeeping armada on a scientific mission, do you think the phaser crew, those are dedicated positions, or is it a SWAT team, where it's just people who need to respond in 3 minutes notice?
Yeah, I want to imagine that they're all like a hydrologist or something, who on their off time learn how to shoot the phasers. So they're in the hydroponics bay, and then they get a little page, a beeper, and then they go to man the guns or something like this.
Sorry to ruin the experiment, but it's a red alert.
I studied botany for this.
Yeah, so because there would never be a dedicated gunners or anything on a Starfleet.
Yeah, this is all about peace and spreading the good news.
On the Enterprise. On the Enterprise D, I know all the weapons officers are also the kindergarten teachers, but we know there's no children on the Enterprise. OG 1701 nothing. So I'm sure they have some other job. Let's give some scores here. Maybe I'll start.
Anyone?
There's some tension here. Bailey's actions are quizzical. I'm not sure how quizzical they'd be to a 1960s audience, but he just seems to be weirdly insubordinate and just strangely out of place. I did like the adrenaline gland, maybe you should have it removed quip. I do like any opportunity to just sexily take off William Shatner's shirt and make him glisten with sweat. I do like the utter ineffectualness of anyone's guesses as to what's going on. So I'm going to continue with my 6 quality score and up the metal to 4.5.
I buy the most of that logic, but I don't end up at the same place. I'm gonna go 5 and 5.
All right.
I find the overall incompetence, the disorder, and their complete reliance on James Kirk to do anything very metal. It does kind of hurt the tension a little bit, though. It is pretty intense for a second act, though.
Don't forget the doctor's apathy during an emergency.
I mean, that's pretty. You know what? 5.5.
Yeah,
5.5.
6 and 6 now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 5 and 6.
5. 5 is your metal, 6 is your quality, or the other way around?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we're out of the room.
Oh, we're out of the deliberation chamber now.
I hope you got my scores right.
I hope I did too. All right. So they destroy the cube.
And then the credits roll, and then it's over, right?
Yeah, it's like but no, actually, remind me about the credits rolling because there's a fun fact later on.
Hey, thanks for the content match, asshole.
Oh, actually,
you just demonetized us.
Did I tell you that Gene Roddenberry wrote lyrics for that fucking song just so he could get ass caps? Did we mention that?
I did know that. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Fuck that dude. What a dick.
I'm just kidding, because we're not monetized to begin with, because we're unmonetizable.
All right. Okay. Excellent.
You're listening to Podcast Them Down, the unmonetizable metal podcast.
As opposed to all those monetizable metal podcasts. Am I right?
I don't know. There might be one. There might be 2.
Metallica podcast, definitely monetizable.
Oh, it's all ads. And the whole thing is to sell their box set. And you know what? I didn't need a podcast to get me to buy the box set.
Wait, weren't we going to review the podcast of that?
Well, I've been listening to it, and it's fantastic. But you know, you can do it too. It's just going to be, if we reviewed that podcast, it would just be me talking about how much I love it, because it's great.
Well, maybe we'll get some counterpoint. Maybe I'll not listen to the episode. Maybe we can do a.
Do you want me to walk off again?
Can we do a podcast re-listen podcast?
What, to like this podcast?
Yeah. We need to check ourselves. Like when we got a season, it'll be a calibration exercise. Yeah.
Okay, but back to Act 2. So they blew up the fucking cube. There's nothing else in sensor range. They don't really know what to do next. They seem weirdly confused.
Well, we get an intense Kirk Spock scene.
Right.
It establishes their options are to probe ahead or go back. And then it comes down to logic. And then I don't even think Mr. Spock says anything. And then Kirk just starts lecturing him on how they're out here to connect with alien life. And then Spock's like, why do you ask me anything? And he's like, you give me emotional comfort. What? And they're like 18 inches away from each other.
Yeah.
Oh, and Spock is wearing the or hers thing.
No, not now. He's not wearing that thing right now.
Bailey is.
We'll
get to that.
But anyway, so they
go ahead.
So basically he tells Bailey to go straight ahead. And again, it's unclear because Bailey's the helmsman or the navigator or something, but for some reason that makes him in charge of the phaser cruise. So Kirk starts giving them shit that the phaser crews didn't respond in time when he ordered them to shoot. And so he has them like run proficiency drills. And McCoy is concerned that everyone's just been through a tense situation, and so having them run drills is probably not the best idea. And Kirk is like, "Don't tell me how to be a fucking captain, asshole."
Hey, then don't sign up for Starfleet.
Oh yeah. No, you're right.
I'm sorry, I'm on the command side on this one.
Nothing makes you proficient like doing the same thing till you physically can't anymore, which appears to be Kirk's approach.
Hey, it worked in Miracle, right?
It did.
Yes.
And Mighty Ducks 3.
And we see Kirk's, it'll come back repeatedly, but his blindness to the incompetence of Bailey. The phaser crew, they might have been a second or so off. I mean, they're running for the hydroponics bay, whatever. It takes a little while to get in your seats and hit the button. But Bailey is the one who's like, kill, destroy. And then he locks up. And it was all him. And now, however many people have to do this until they're 100% proficient.
Yeah, they're 94% good, by the way. And Kirk's like, let's get that extra fucking 6%.
Oh, come on. That's an A. That is an A.
They get up to 94% from whatever the unestablished baseline during the length of time it takes for McCoy and Kirk to throw down a drink.
Mm-hmm. Kirk strangely chides McCoy for reading textbooks, which is something I would want a doctor to do, like be up and proficient on his knowledge. But like, you're reading fucking textbooks, doc. This is space.
Yeah, it's all about
the guts.
Right for the gut. Yeah, I know this Bailey kid. Trust me.
So this is going on. Now we're in Kirk's quarters. Rand shows up with a salad, and Kirk looks perplexed. He says, "What is this, green leaves?" And Rand informs him that McCoy changed his diet card because he's overweight. Kirk is upset because Rand is hovering over him while he's trying to eat his salad.
Salad.
He doesn't want to eat until the crew eats.
What? Not in the wardroom. What's going on?
It's just a lot of weird shit. He's just.
And why is Rand she serves him food now? Is that a thing?
Yeah, she's the yeoman,
Yeah, but
and then after he gets this meal from her, and McCoy refuses to eat salad.
That's because he's a red-blooded American in the 60s.
Yeah.
Then Kirk starts complaining about the headquarters genius that assigned him a female yeoman. And McCoy's like, "What's the matter? Don't you trust yourself?" And Kirk says, "I've already got a female to worry about. Her name's the Enterprise."
Hey.
And yeah, it's just strange. But luckily, this weird bullshit ends quickly because an object much larger starts coming towards them.
Is it also
Spock
a square?
Calls Kirk to the bridge. No, in fact, round.
What? Oh.
So Kirk goes up to the bridge. This is a long fucking act. And a big fucking round ball made of balls appears.
It looks like a popcorn ball or like an undercooked agnolotti. Is that what that's called? The risotto balls?
Yeah, that's a very good description. I think this is a strange occurrence where both the remastered version and the original version look remarkably similar.
It's true, the cube too. The original holds up very well, I must say.
And so it's just like this big ball made of balls coming up to them. And the popcorn ball is a great description there. and it identifies themselves as we should mention this ship is huge. It dwarfs the Enterprise. It's gigantic. It hails them. It sends them a message. We hear the word. There's a fucking sequence where Kirk says the phrase "ship to ship" 90 times in a row. And Uhura says hailing frequencies open immediately afterwards, like again 90 times in a row. They try and talk to the ship. The ship says, I'm Baylock, the commander. This is the Facerius of the First Federation. And you destroyed our warning buoy, and now you're going to be detained.
It's I was hoping it was the primitive Borg when they were made of corn.
The Korg?
The Korg.
If only. They try to send a recorder marker to let Starfleet know shit's down. Baylock destroys that. And then he announces that he's going to destroy the Enterprise for blowing up their little cube and gives them 10 minutes to prepare for death, assuming that they have a deity or deities. And McCoy tells Kirk that the message was heard all across the ship, so there's no hiding what's going on.
Okay, so I can get like everyone speaks English, because if they didn't, you wouldn't have much of any stories to tell. But why does everyone use Earth-based time? It's a nice round number. It's 10 Earth minutes.
Baylock has scanned their data banks, so he says 10 of your Earth minutes. So he's being like but
he's also
sensitive.
Picking a round number that's it's a base 10 counting system. Like
but he's so we didn't set it up perfectly, but they scanned the Enterprise just like out of the motion picture, learn everything possible about Earth, and use that before making their decision.
All right,
they're doing it for the benefit of the Earthers, not any alien reason.
I will retract my argument, but next time I see this bullshit again.
Well, the bullshit you can call out is how they mix metric and imperial.
Yeah, but the Navy does that now. So.
That's true.
I get imperial is relatable to human experience. Space is not relatable to human experience. So use metric out there. That's fine.
This is like another one of Doug's anti-metric system screeds.
I don't know. That was a strong argument from Doug. He's winning me over slightly. So
okay, so then something really, really, really out of character and fucking weird happens.
Well,
wait. Back to the minutes thing. He says, we therefore grant you 10 Earth time periods known as minutes. Well, you could have said that, and then we would have saved a few minutes on the podcast.
No, because like the Metal Nation likes every Earth time period known of minute that we lay down. Oh, and in fact, I've heard that they love episodes that go plus 90 minutes. So that's why we have to leave all of this in. I've read the angry emails that the Shield Brother episode stopped at 48 minutes and was cut into a two-parter. That could have been one fucking 78-minute episode.
I mean, people were just furious about Mudd's women.
Yeah. I literally had someone call me a fizzle.
What?
That counter was just affronting to the audience.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up if we lost any listeners from that episode. You guys go on.
All right. Well, first of all, Kirk passes on the opportunity to disavow any relationship to primitive god images.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just have the one.
Yeah.
But I found that kind of weird.
I took that as Kirk has more on his mind. It's not a time to yell about God.
Mudd's women is in quite a deep trough.
I thought you were going to say it was the most. It was our most downloaded episode ever.
Yeah, because it's people are like 5 minutes. There's no way we'll get the insight and expert analysis and all the great chuckles we come to expect.
Man, I can't wait to do that again.
Okay.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
okay, so Kirk, even though everyone's heard that they have 10 minutes to live, Kirk kind of talks to everyone on the ship. Is like, "Don't worry, we'll get out of this." And so they try to negotiate. They try and say, "We'll go back the way we came," but none of it seems to work. While all this is going on, Spock is doing something to get a visual image inside the ship, and I don't understand why he's doing this. Or he says he's curious, but that sounds like an emotion to me. And basically, Spock kind of spies on Baylock and gets a picture of Baylock, who looks like a big old, like, green-faced, big-headed alien. But it just doesn't really make any sense.
Well,
Makes you wonder who else.
In, the submarine one.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder who else he's spying on out of curiosity.
Yeah, Spock's kind of a creep.
I can see what you're doing.
It's like, oh, I accidentally turned on the camera that looks right in your bedroom.
And
Man.
looks very good in both versions. Like the puppet coupled with however they filtered it as a practical effect, actually, for what it is, holds up.
Yeah.
And did you notice the weird guy that looks like Bruno Kirby standing behind Kirk for no reason for this entire scene?
Yes. And he has like a slide rule or something.
Yeah, it's like he's Kirk's check captain. Like, make sure you handle this situation right.
Yeah, he has some weird, like, transparent plastic prop that I can't figure out what it is, but he's just like just behind him. Finally, the end of a very long act, Bailey freaks out, says that they're all gonna die. And Kirk sends him to his room without any supper.
Yeah, apparently it's just a few steps short of a spree shooting is what gets you relieved of duty on Kirk's bridge.
He's like, "You fucking assholes, don't you know we're all going to get vaporized in 7..." Oh, he's really
doing a countdown.
Yeah, he's really
out of your minds. End of watch. It's the end of everything.
That's a pretty good Dave Bailey there, Doug. He's really pissed off that Sulu keeps counting down the minutes.
And Scotty makes a weird snide remark later, too.
And it's just... Okay, so that's the end of the act. Thank God.
Oh!
Let's go to the deliberation chamber.
All right, so I haven't been listening.
Well, then I guess you give your scores first.
All right, there was imminent doom. That's fucking metal as shit.
Yep.
There's a very emotional reaction. There's a ticking clock. There's a salad. There's misogyny. This is a pretty metal act.
I like how salad is among your metal things.
I didn't say that. I just said that there was salad and that it was a metal act.
And Kirk's like sanctimony and belittlement of, and the way like he totally overwhelms Bailey with work, including have him monitoring the communications at one point. It's like, we need to test the phasers, full impulse, listen to the communications stream, and then Bailey flips out. And that's like, all Kirk's doing.
What the fuck you flipping out for, bro?
Yeah,
I'm just giving you 5 jobs.
So pretty much everyone's an asshole, so that's gonna bring up the metal score to an 8. I'm going to give it a quality score of 7. Pretty exciting. They're all going to die. Fuck yeah.
Well, I think Balrog's just blanket determination to kill everyone.
That's metal as fuck.
On the basis of...
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to give it an 8 for metal and a 7 for quality. This is a solid act. A lot goes on. It's a little hard to keep track of, but all of it is good. All of it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm 8 for metal, 7 for quality.
Hey, how about that?
Excellent.
I was listening. See what I did there? All right, let's get out of here.
Okay, 2 acts to go. Wow. So we rejoined the Enterprise. 6 minutes have elapsed. They're no closer to solving the problem. Kirk asks Spock for options, and Spock says, well, in chess, when you're outmatched, the game is over. Checkmate.
Thanks, Spock.
Yeah, which is really logical, I guess. Also, Spock makes a weird remark that he found Baylock quite handsome, and he reminded him of his father. And there's a weird back and forth about Spock's mom, which, if he was an emotional man, would probably have led to someone getting punched. But he was like, no, my mom was a quite handsome Earth woman.
Wait, who's going, yeah, my dad's hot?
I think the implication went a little further than hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird sequence.
Yeah. She considered herself a very fortunate Earth woman. Yeah, that was weird. Okay, so... So once again, this is another Star Trek episode that claims that poker is more superior to chess. So they come up after talking about Spock's mom for a while.
What kind of poker? There's like 800 kinds of poker. Which poker?
Well, poker. They never say what.
Are they
kind of
all
poker.
better than chess? I mean, give me a break.
Apparently,
this is just
yes.
lazy writing by 60s sci-fi.
I mean, maybe in the 60s there was only one kind of poker. Maybe those were
this
all
was before they invented all the variants.
Yeah, like
poker. I gotta say, poker itself is pretty metal because everyone who does it is fucking awful to talk to.
And I just have to point out that when this act starts, so the first line is 4 minutes 30 seconds. The second is Mr. Scott saying, you have an annoying fascination for timepieces, Mr. Sulu. Because why would give a shit about the time?
Yeah, like, who needs to know how long you have left in your death countdown? Especially the fucking command staff. It's not like they're, like, stacking boxes in the cargo bay. Like, maybe they should be aware of how long. And it's literally Sulu's job because he has the clock in front of him. Okay, so we talk about how let's not fucking know how long we have to work, and we talk about Spock's mom. So we go into poker, and here's
into the Kirk McCoy scene in the turbo lift, where we get some more ship's log drama. Because we get the same fucking thing we got in the last episode where Kirk's like, you're pushing him too hard, and he's like, I'm gonna put in my log the Bailey sucks, and then McCoy's like, I'm gonna put in my log that you worked him too hard. Just a lot of, again, not what I would be doing if there was 4 minutes left to save my ship. But there's always time for bickering and speculating about Spock's mom, and yelling at the people who are just trying to help you by giving the countdown. And Kirk makes some maximalist statements. I'm ordering you to drop it. I have no time for you, your theories, your quaint philosophies.
Yep.
Of course, I intend to challenge your actions in my records. I'll state that I warned you about Bailey's condition. Now that's no bluff.
And this, luckily, is what gives him the idea. And Kirk says, anytime you can bluff me, Doctor. Aha, bluffing. So then he tells Uhura once again, ship to ship, and they open hailing frequencies again. And so Kirk explains to the other ship that all Earth ships for the past 200 years have incorporated a substance known as Corbomite into their hulls. And Corbomite causes this strange, unexplained reaction that if any destructive energy touches the Earth vessel, a reverse reaction of equal strength is created, destroying the attacker. Yep.
That's a lie.
That is a lie, but he says it very emphatically. He says that since Corbomite was used over 2 centuries ago, no attacking vessel has survived the attempt. And death has little meaning to Earth people.
Foolishness.
Yeah.
So the guy who wrote this episode is named Jerry Sohl, Sohl. And
yep.
Among the things he wrote is a book called Underhanded Chess. So he apparently didn't hate chess more than poker. You know, it's
yeah.
He didn't write a poker book. He wrote a bridge book. Anyway.
Well, bridge is kind of like nothing. It's actually a lot like chess.
Well, now that the show is nicely derailed, go ahead.
We're gonna podcast some chess.
All right, Queen's Pond.
Is magic. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to do a magic episode. Actually, I thought of a way we could do magic on the air, the same way we. This will be different than when we did it on the radio show. That got broadcast.
Oh my God, I can't wait. That might have to be for our Patreon patrons.
Yeah, sign up for Patreon. I don't think I even put the link in the description, but the link may or may not be in the description. And while you're there, subscribe.
All right, so Kirk does this bluff. Spock talks about how it's well played. Here's the part about his father. And then McCoy enabling Kirk. No, Kirk apologizes to McCoy, and then McCoy's like, for having other things on your mind, it's my fault. I don't know how the devil you keep from punching me in the face.
So then they're still sweating. The countdown's still going on. Bailey, who was just thrown off the bridge 5 minutes or so ago, shows back up and says, can I go back to my job now that there's 30 seconds left for the ship? And everyone's like, yeah, sure. Then they count down to 1 and nothing happens.
They fucked up.
And Baylock calls over and says, we're a little concerned about this whole Corbomite thing. And so could you please prove that it's real? Provide us some proof of your Corbomite device.
Not a device, it's a material.
And then Kirk says, let him sweat, so they decide not to answer, and they're all just kind of chilling. Kirk calls over again, says, request denied. They creepily look in on Baylock again. And see him kind of sweating.
We're
and
forgetting about a very important detail here, Matt.
No, I'm getting right to it.
This better be what I think it is.
This is the strangest fucking thing that's ever happened in Star Trek. And I've watched a lot of Star Trek.
Is it?
So we're in a high tense
it
moment.
Is. It is what I think it is.
Will this Corbomite maneuver pull off? Will the Enterprise be saved? And all of a sudden, Janice fucking Rand shows up with a bunch of paper cups and is like, who wants coffee? and And everyone's confused, but not for the reason they should be. McCoy says, I thought the power was off in the galley. Rand says, I used a hand phaser and zap coffee. Again, this coffee is not mentioned at any other point in the plot, except for the fact that for the rest of this act, they have paper cups in their hands.
What as of all places, Memory Alpha helpfully points out, this supports Star Trek 6.
That's very true.
Of course, there are phasers in the kitchen.
That's true.
Goes down. How are you going to heat the coffee? You need that phaser cabinet.
But why didn't the alarm go off?
They only put that in and they remodeled. And
maybe they didn't have that technology yet. Okay, so they're drinking their coffee, and again, not really sure what's going on. And they talk a little bit about poker. McCoy says he'd love to teach it to Spock. They're not like frenemies yet. They're just genuine friends. They haven't really worked that relationship out yet. And so then the big giant ship calls them and says, you know what? We're going to change our tactic here. So we're going to tow you to somewhere else. And this little tiny ship is going to do the job, and the big ass ship is going to fly away. But don't try any funny business, because even the little tiny ship could destroy your vessel. And then they're being towed. And that's the end of Act 3.
All right. All right, I have to do it. I'm going to give it a quality score of 10 based entirely on the coffee.
I entirely agree. 10 all around.
I'm going to give it a metal score, however, of 5.
5. I'm going to give it a 6.66 here. I like the audacity of fucking over the entire crew and yet insisting on coming back to your post when there's literally 30 seconds left to live. So everyone thinks you're redeemed. I like just why Rand thinks there's coffee. Like, fuck it, this is my job. I bring people coffee, and that's what I'm gonna do. I like talking shit about Spock's mom. I like
God,
Spock
literally not caring about his job.
Yeah,
or the predicament they're in.
I like the weird Oedipedal undertones of a lot of Spock's dialogue here, and that's me.
And there's just the enablement of Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk is a psychopath. Kirk should be relieved of duty immediately. He has no regard for the safety of his crew or his ship.
Yeah, it's just a shame he's right spot on the money with the Corbomite maneuver and his ability to sell it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty metal.
He runs a tight ship, so tight, in fact, that coffee is served on the dot, regardless of the power situation or whether they're just about to die.
I mean, he just made up some shit and sold it. That's pretty metal.
Like, the Enterprise in this episode, mere minutes ago, was tossed around like a ragdoll, and yet none of the coffee cups have any kind of lid.
They live on the edge.
What are your scores there, Doug?
I mean, they do the Horatio Hornblower stuff. It's handled well. They get the Kirk swagger and then all the craziness. It's an 8 and a 9.
That's right.
Not bad. Yeah. All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Okay. Now, so far, this has been a pretty metal episode, and I hope it maintains this metalness and doesn't descend in some kind of weird pseudo-pederastic relationship. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
I don't like this foreshadowing.
So, okay, so the little ship is towing the Enterprise. And Kirk is just kind of over this. They need to figure out, this has been going on for several hours again.
Kirk is also a little jittery for some reason.
Yeah, he drank like 6 cups of coffee. So what they discover, or what they realize, is that the tractor beam actually drains power on the little ship. Now, why the giant planet-sized ship couldn't have done this, unclear. But they notice that there's a power drain, and so they hope to take advantage of that by sort of shearing away at an angle, and hopefully at a certain point this will break the rope, if you will, and the Enterprise will be free.
I will.
So that's exactly what they do. Now it's hard. The engines go close to overheating.
Passes the intermix temperature.
Yeah, the intermix temperature gets up to 8,000 unspecified degrees.
Well, at 8,000, does it really matter?
I don't know.
And Spock, with much authority, says she'll blow soon.
And then someone mentions his mom again. No.
My favorite part of this whole sequence is the lack of any presence or voice of the chief engineer.
Who, by the way, is on the bridge. And you think when the engines were overheating, he might have something to do in engineering, but doesn't. So it works. The plan works. The Enterprise breaks free. The little 4-ball ship sort of blinks lowly. It's clearly disabled. Scott says, no, again, I question the judgment of Commander Montgomery Scott here. They're still in a hostile situation. But Scott says the engines need to rest, so can we hang out here for a couple of hours?
By the way, I believe your favorite guy shows up again. The labeled pocket guy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he does. He does, because there's like 7 successive scenes of like a turn. It's really interesting. This is clearly one of the tilted the bridge set things, but also everyone's jittering, but people are jittering in different ways. So like William Shatner is just jittering his arms because he's like very much in command.
Are you sure that's like the ship
Dave
moving
Bailey is
and not
going
him?
like this. It's
not his caffeine addiction.
Very interesting. So yeah, the labeled pocket guy gets tossed around. Coffee is everywhere. So Baylock sends out a distress signal to his big ship. But they determine it's so weak that the giant mothership could probably not have heard it. So being the humanitarian that he is,
imminent death.
Kirk says we have to go rescue him. So he creates a landing party. McCoy...
he sets up the stakes interestingly here. Their lives at stake. Alien lives by our standards. Lives nonetheless.
Yeah. So even though Baylock has done nothing but fuck around with them, they decide to go save him. He brings McCoy and Bailey along with him. Spock really wants to go, possibly because of this whole like weird, like Baylock looks like his dad. Like Spock is really intent on going over, but Kirk, full of confidence, says that if something goes wrong, he needs Spock on the ship. You know,
the one time he thinks of this in ever 80s episodes, yeah.
So they go to transport over. They're on the transporter pad. Scotty warns them that they need to stoop over because it's pretty cramped over there. When they beam over there, it is not ramped at all, except for the one place Scotty has chosen to beam them in. Like he just beams them under a ledge, but everywhere else is pretty much like nice and big and will accommodate a human male.
Yeah, and Scotty has sold them on this being very risky, which it is not at all. And there is a great scene of them putting on their gun belts.
Yeah, very. And they also, I think, because this is intended as like the third episode ever. They're like, here's your communicator, here's your phaser weapon, and just kind of like visually pass them like, here's your phaser. Here's your communicator. Just giving you a little screen time. And then we get over to the ship. So, all right. So, first thing we do is see Baylock, the creature we've been seeing, and immediately we discover it's a
what? It's a what?
It's a puppet. The thing they've been looking at is a puppet this whole time.
Oh, puppet. So, which ship are they on? The little one or the big one?
No, the little one.
All right, go ahead.
But apparently the little one might just be the operations center of the big one. Then who do they see but old Clint Howard, 11-year-old Clint Howard, with a weird overdubbed voice, dressed up like the Little Prince, and he knows all their names. He's like, welcome aboard. That's just a puppet. I'm the real Baylock. Have some Tranya, which is like this brownish punch, I guess you could call it.
It's apple cider. That's what
it's actually grapefruit juice, which apparently the real Clint Howard hated drinking.
Yeah,
and it was like
him.
Very hard. As a child actor, he said it was his greatest challenge was to pretend he enjoyed drinking this garbage.
Yeah, it's because grapefruit juice is fucking terrible.
So he explains that he wanted to test the Enterprise. He explains that he controls the entire ship from his little vessel, but he's lonely. He really wants someone to join him. And that's the best way to learn about a culture is working together.
No, this is dumb as shit. I'll save it for the discussion.
Dave Bailey looks very intrigued by young Baylock there. And he literally licks his lips when Captain Kirk suggests that Bailey might stay on. He's like, I'd love that.
And it's a win-win for Kirk, who seems to have a rational attachment to Bailey, but knows it's wrong.
Yeah, and it's just like, well, I can get this fuck up off my ship. Kirk says, like,
a better officer in return.
He's like, do you know anyone who'd like to go, Mr. Bailey? I'd like to volunteer, sir. And then Baylock says something like, you're the Earth's finest then. He's like, no, I'll make a lot of mistakes. And Kirk says, you'll find out more about us because I've sent you a fuck up. So that's the episode. Dave Bailey's now on this ship. Young Clint Howard calls for his big ship. We assume the First Federation is a real thing. Perhaps. I mean, there's lots of memory beta things that Baylock really was a representative of the First Federation. But are they just Baylocks? Is it a Miri situation? I'm not really sure. We never find out. All we know is this weird single man is on this giant ship, aka a tiny ship with a weird childlike creature, and we're all supposed to be okay with that.
At least Decker had Ilea.
Yeah.
And V'ger.
Yeah. Yeah.
We done then?
That's the act.
All right. Yeah, this is total bullshit. I want to learn more about you, so I'll try to kill you. What were they going to do? Blow up the thing and run away? You're going to learn a lot about that. Anyway, quality score 1, metal score. It was tracking along pretty well until there's some creepy kid involved, and then clearly, what's his name? Bailey is, I don't know, that smile when he's like, you can stay on board with this young child. And he, biggest fucking smile ever. No. 1, 0.
All right.
0.
That's not a 10. That's a 0.
That's a single 0
of people in the metal community. We'll put that out, right,
Yeah.
Tim?
What's that?
We will exclude the behavior of people in the metal community as informing the metalness assessment of that.
How about the quality was so poor it took away from the metal score? If that's what you want to use to justify it to yourself, but I am justifying it. That smile ruined everything.
Okay, I am going to take a lot of points down on the metal score for reasons that Tim has revealed. I'm just going to give it a 4. I am going to give it an 8 in quality, and just hear me out. This is like a tired, cliched ending for us because we've lived our entire life knowing that this is how this episode ends, right? It's always going to be there's never a monster. It's always a little kid. But I think I'm trying to imagine like the 60s audience's minds literally blowing up in their skulls when it's not a monster, but a cute kid. And that's that.
There was a cute kid too?
No, oh, sorry. This ugly, gap-toothed kid, with a weird dubbing. There is a little too much like Kirk and McCoy holding Clint Howard's hands, because it's very unclear whether if he's just a diminutive adult, which was my reading, or an actual child. But they behave like he's a child rather than like a sophisticated space creature. And so I do deduct some metalness there, but I do think kind of like this as a story, as the quality of a Star Trek story, as a reversal of expectation, it's pretty good. I find that let Bailey go with you ending dissatisfying, but it's not. It's no like the fucking what are little girls made of, where he's just punching Lurch in the face and arguing with himself again. It's pretty good. I'd watch. This feels like a Star Trek episode to me.
It does. Yeah. I can only talk about the 5th act, or to be clear here.
True.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the reversal would have been more novel back then. Yeah, McCoy and Kirk definitely could use some interspecies sensitivity training. And they demonstrate a fair bit of unconscious bias in the treatment of Baylock. Now, leaving an unstable person with this alien, I don't know. If we look at Memory Beta, it worked out okay for all parties. But can't count that. I'm going to go with a 3 and a 7.
3 and 7. I like that. All right. Well, let's see what we got. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yep.
Whoop, whoop. Well, this is interesting.
Sounds like all the counting's done, Doug. Go ahead.
Yeah. Sounds like it might be an unexpected result.
Well, let me recalibrate here. Oh, that's
Unexpected only, and that's coming at you with all this objectivity.
That's right.
We're blind to.
I just need to adjust one more thing here. Okay, so this is among our better episodes. The average scores here. Act 3 was by far the superior act with an 8.11. The ending did not fare as well. It got a 3.8. The teaser got a 4.4. Both acts 1 and 2 were very respectable, +5. The average score for this episode is 5.922. If you remember, the most recent episode we did, which I believe was The Dagger of the Mind, got a 6.3, so not quite as good, but pretty good. The absolute score is a 177.66. And I would like to use the 1 in 100 to subtract from one of those 7s to give it a more metal score of 76.66. And this is ranking fairly high. It is perhaps the third metalist episode we've watched so far. Up among such greats as Where No Man Has Gone Before, The Naked Time, and definitely beating out the shittiest episode we've seen yet, Mud Swimming.
Yeah, and just going to memory beta, just tiniest thing. Well, first of all, Tranya, the drink,
Oh yeah,
is appears in DS9, the actual show.
Yep.
Quark's Bar, Dax likes it. So that's Alpha, and then in the novels, I think it was a 3-part novel or series. Bailey replaced Gary Mitchell. So Kirk sort of got a thing. He knows it's unconscious bias. He knows what a go get 'em helmsman looks like to him.
But does that mean that Kirk is a bad judge of character or is someone who doesn't read resumes?
Well, yeah, he just shoots from the hip. It's like, oh, I like this Bailey guy. Firm handshake, kind of intense look. He'll be great.
Yeah. But I guess that role is finally filled by Chekhov, but not till the next season. That's kind of... Mr. Kyle's there for a while, too, I think.
Yeah.
None of them great. This is just very strange of old Captain Kirk.
Maybe he gets a personnel director in season 2, and we just never see him.
Yeah, we just get a better thing. Oh, we have a big decision to make coming up. But we'll talk about that next time when we join you for the menagerie, at least part 1 and probably part 2, because it's like 4 episodes in one. And and special guest coming up, special guest for December. You'll see who it is next time on Podcast 'Em Down. Take us out, Doug.
I'm Tim Regan.
Yeah.
Hit it, Tim.
I think you meant to say like, comment, subscribe, share.
Oh, yeah.
Boost engagement. Click that
Smash
bell.
like, twist the like button, and subscribe on multiple accounts. Go to your mom's house, open up her YouTube and her iTunes and her Spotify, and subscribe there.
You can find this shit on Stitcher.
We're on Reddit now as well. So reddit.com/r/ listen to how old I sound /podcast them down.
Coming soon.
TPS. Yeah.
That's all right.
Look for
if you disagree with our take on the Corbomite maneuver, type that shit in the comments.
That's
also,
right.
get ready, coming January 2022, TikTok. Podcast 'Em Down TikTok. I will be doing at least one a week starting January 1st, 2022. And that's not a promise that's a threat, or whatever the way that's supposed to be.
All right, now I'll take us out.
Yeah.
Fucking Tranya.
Are we done?
Well, you told me not to mute your mic.
Yeah, I
During
mean,
the
you
outro.
never mute mics.
We have to let the feedback go all the way. So now we're officially in the Easter egg.
We need to be transparent to the viewers. That's our commitment.
Are you really saying that the dogs ate your homework?
No, yeah. I mean, I got home and the dogs did torn shit up, so I had to regulate. Fun fact: looking for a new dog, and also fun fact: if anyone has those like contractor trash bags, hook me up.
So, who wants to read the
What?
the
Night on Podcast Him Down. The Enterprise approaches a planet-sized vessel. I'm brain cut. Read
cut?
Matt.
Start over.
Right, okay,
I've never had to take 2 takes on it.
All right, hold on. Tonight on podcast. Hold on.
Are we doing your part to clarify?
All right. 3. I like to slate in because I think that's professional. 3, 2, 1.